Hello everybody, welcome back to Glitz and Glitter. I am on my own today. Sorry, Mr. Glitz did not want to participate in the program today, so I'm on my own. So I'm going to do another coaster using paper. It came out so good the other day and I just loved this piece of paper. It was from Hobby Lobby and I got it in the scrapbooking section. And it was kind of, you know, like this big piece of paper. I just took my blank coaster. I'm going to call it a blank, even though it's not a blank. It's the same size. And on this one, I wanted faces in there, and they were kind of spread apart. So I did have to pick and choose where I wanted to trace around. So make sure you pay attention to your pattern and only trace around the bits that you want in your coaster. Now I've already sealed these and I used Mod Podge. You can get a gloss, you can get satin, you can get matte Mod Podge. It doesn't really matter. It's going to dry clear and we're just sealing it in so the resin doesn't seep through the paper. So I did front and back already just a few minutes ago and they dry pretty instantly. So I'm going to do 3 today. I was only going to do 2, but because I screwed up my paper, I only managed to get 3 out of that big piece of paper. So I'm just going to do all 3 of them. And today on the bottom, I'm going to mix this iridescent glitter that I got for free with a resin order. It came in the resin. You guys probably get these as well. So I'm going to mix this in some clear. And I'm only going to put like 1 ounce in the bottom of each of these coasters. I'm going to let that cure, and then we're going to get the paper put in. Be right back. For those of you that missed the other day's video with the other paper, these are the products. I will link this video below if you want to see these, and I backed these with copper mica. I think they came out super pretty. So if you want to see that video, go in the description box. It will be there along with a ton of other stuff in the description. Now, this is the bottom of my curing machine. And what I'm finding when you're doing more than like 2 coasters, when I do 3 or 4, there's a slight angle here. So I just wanted to show you that what I'm going to do is not use this bottom, but I am going to use the curing machine. But it does have to breathe. So I have this board here. I'm just going to wipe it off. And I'm going to put the coasters on here. This way it's a flat surface. And then when I'm ready to cure it with the machine, I'm going to prop up the machine up off this board with something, maybe another mold or whatever, and just set it over it and then turn it on. That way everything is flat and it will still have the air breathing in it. So I've got 80 mLs, which is about 3 ounces of medium viscosity 1:1 resin. And I will top coat this set, which I didn't do in the last set. I will top this set in heat resistant resin. So I'm just going to dump a whole bunch of this glitter, iridescent film, whatever this is. Let me open it a little bit more, because I really want it super iridescent on the back side. Like I did the copper side of those. I just thought this would look really, really pretty with the pink flamingos. And if you have not done so and you are on Facebook, I have created a group for Glitz and Glitter. And it's growing nicely. So if you want to join that group, the link in the description is the easiest way to get there. Just submit the request and I allow everybody in. I'm not going to quiz you like most people do and ask you a bunch of questions. You can get in there, but I'm not putting it public just to keep those people out who don't do resin and have no idea what we're talking about. So we're just not we're gonna keep it private. So do go in the description and get that link and all kinds of other links. All right, I think that's pretty good. I don't know, maybe I'll put more. You know what? I'm gonna dump it all in there, because I'd rather see this than the clear resin. I'm just going to pour a small coat on the bottom of each of these. You don't even have to use the whole thing. You don't want to, because you want enough space to tack down that paper and to coat it on the top. Oh, I'm glad I added it all. It looks so pretty. Okay, I've got just a little bit left over. I will make something with that and give it away as a freebie. And time to cure these. I've got a super simple way to wipe this out and use it in the next couple minutes. So if you want to see that video, it's like 1.5 minutes and it's linked in the description below as well. I'm just going to fill up these little magnets. I make magnets out of my extras, some of them, and get those cured as well. So I just propped this up off of the board with these small jewelry molds so the airflow can go up underneath there. And this should take probably an hour, hour and a half, and then we'll get the paper put on. It's been about 2 hours because I totally forgot about them. And they are definitely cured from the machine. So I'm just going to set these aside right now. And we're going to, I should have done this before they were cured and they'd be ready. I'm going to flip these over because they are sealed, remember. Now I'm going to use this, tack it over and over. When this is dry, it also dries clear, but it dries tacky. So when we put it on these coasters, you can take it on and off and on and off as much as, not as much, but a few times to reposition it. I found out the last time. And it'll still stick even after it's been repositioned. So this stuff dries clear but dries tacky. I use this mostly for my tumblers when I'm using the glitter method, when I want to burnish my glitter down so it lays flat onto the tumbler. That's what I usually use this for. So I'm just going to put a little bit on here and let it dry, which does not take long. I also have a ceiling fan going, so I will stick it under the ceiling fan a little bit better, get this dried, and we'll put them on there. Sorry for the voiceover. I forgot to turn my microphone on, so I'll do the best that I can. So as you can see, I didn't use a clean piece of paper, so learn from my mistakes. Get a clean piece of paper. It's not going to make too big of a deal because we're putting clear over this, so you really won't see that anyway. So now it's just sticky on both sides. So they are dry. It only took a couple of minutes, and I put it under the ceiling fan, and I even put a little heat gun to it for probably 30 seconds. So they're tacky and they're ready to get placed onto the coasters. So I'm just going to get these back on this tray so I can put them under the curing machine again. Now get anything off the front that you don't mean to be there. Like I said, use a clean piece of paper. So I'm just going to, and if you need to reposition them, you can pull them off and reposition them, but try to do the best you can the first time so you're not pulling off that glue on the backs. So I'm just going to get it put on there, and you're going to press it down everywhere and just get it really stuck to that coaster, because you don't want any parts of it floating up once you put your resin on the top of it. I had really, really good luck on the last set of coasters, and I'm just kind of doing the exact same thing that I did on the other ones. So as you could see, turning it upside down, they don't fall off. So go ahead and do that on all three of these. Like I said, get all these little pieces, parts off. Pay a little bit better attention. I'm always in a hurry. I don't know why. I can turn the camera off. I don't understand why I'm in a hurry. So we're just going to get these all placed down where they go. And again, just push them in there. On this one, I noticed there was a piece underneath it that was sitting higher than the rest of it. So it didn't lay flat because there was extra whatever that is, flakes. So I just pulled it off. It's still sticky, it doesn't matter. And I'm just going to take my knife very carefully, and I'm just going to pry that little piece up off of there. It didn't go completely flat, but I wasn't too concerned because, like I said, it's really tacky. It's going to stick to the mold, but I did get that like really pointy tip off. There is still a bump underneath there, but I don't think you're going to see it, so I don't think it makes much of a difference. So just go around and feel all of yours before you do this, especially if you use glitter. If you don't use glitter, then it's not going to matter. And then wipe it clean so you don't have any like dust or anything that you're adhering this adhesive to. And then replace it. It will stick again with no problem. And then I'm just going to push it down and get it all secured and move on to the last one. Now I'm going to use my stone coat countertops, my heat resistant one, because these are the tops of the coasters. So you could put anything with heat. I decided that I'm going to put a little bit of sparkle in the top. I'm going to use my rainbow alcohol ink, which I love this stuff. Just shake it really good, and you only need a couple of drops. And it will shimmer beautiful. So I think the tops will look just as pretty as the bottoms, but you'll still be able to see the flamingos. I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the camera, and a little goes a long way. Everything I'm using I will link in the description. to help you guys out if you are trying to find a certain something. Now this is a thicker resin, this countertop one. I'm going to squirt a couple more drops. I don't want too much because I want to be able to see the paper, the whole point on this video. I just want to barely shimmer. Then I'm going to just watch them for a little while before I put them under the curing machine to get any bubbles out. It's all pressed down pretty good still. Didn't go anywhere. These hold about 3 ounces each. I will link these molds as well. But it's about 3 ounces total. I've already put 1 on the bottom, so I mixed up 6 more ounces. Now, if you can dome them pretty good, you will have barely any, if any, trimming to do. I'm just going to get some in each one of them before I add any extra. This one, I have a little too much. Actually, all of them I have a little too much, but it didn't come over yet. It's domed really well, but I don't know what's going to happen under that curing machine with so much in there. So I did mix up a little too much. I'm going to make some freebies. Not sure what yet. I will check. So I'm going to use my alcohol spray. 99% alcohol. I've never had a problem with my alcohol spraying on a mold. So some people do. It could be the ratio of alcohol. If you're using 91 or less, that could be the problem. But I always use 99 and I never have any kind of, what do you call it, on top, any kind of film. That's what I'm looking for. And it pops all my bubbles without using a torch on my molds because molds can get ruined. I've ruined a couple of them now I'm not too happy about. So I mixed up 6, but I only used 4. So these must take a little bit less than 3 each. Now, as you can see right here, see the bubbles are coming up from underneath the paper. So just let this sit. Don't go rushing it underneath anything. Babysit them for a little while, and then you can either put it in the curing machine or you can just let them sit on your counter. But definitely watch, because anytime you put anything in there, it's going to raise bubbles from up underneath. It's the next day and we've run into a problem, but a problem is fixable, and I'm almost glad that it actually happened because I've never gotten to show you how I fix this particular problem. So like I said before I let them cure, the glitter on the bottom, I'll take this one out. This glitter on the bottom was kind of chunky. So there were air bubbles underneath and the air was escaping through the paper, and it was late at night, so I wasn't watching it as long as I should have. I did over pour this one. So the air bubbles did escape and cured on top. As you can see, here's some bubbles that cured on the top. And when I touched it, I ruined it right here, and it was too cured to fix. So this is a new learning experience, especially if you've never had to do this. We're going to sand these down, and we're going to fix the top like it never happened. So anyway, here's the back, which are super pretty. I don't know if you could see that. Oh yeah, you could see the sparkle in there from that little glitter, which doesn't take away from the design of the paper. So I'm just going to get these out, and I am going to show you how to fix this. I mean, they look like they're not fixable. This one I burnt with the torch because I was trying so hard to get that bubble out. They're uneven. There's a little bump there. So we're going to fix this with a sander. All right, let's get started. On a lighter note, here's the extras if you want to see them. So I have two that I have clear with the little foil inside. These will be freebies, making the magnets. Then I added some green of the foil, same kind of foil, just in green. Cute little popsicle. Here's a couple of ice cream cones. I'll just paint this with acrylic paint to look like a cone. This cross I'll make into a bookmark. This one being thin is always bendy for a few days, but it will definitely thicken or harden up. I don't usually have to put in, I don't know, I mean, on my bookmarks I usually have to put an extra clear coat on, but for these, for some reason, maybe because they're smaller, they do get nice and hard. Okay, here's some seashells and a starfish. Oops. Super cute. Love the color. All right, back to sanding. I've got my orbital sander and my 120 grit sandpaper. So I'm just going to sand down the surfaces of each of the 3 coasters and get all the high areas off. Now hold it tight because it will slip under your fingers, so you don't want to hurt yourself. So I'm not worried about the low spots. I'm only worried about the high spots. And I'm going to knock the bubbles down to open them up so we can get those filled with resin. These surfaces here are the clear surfaces are the low spots, so I'm not too worried about those. I'm just worried about the high spots. Now some of the bubbles that you open up will fill with this dust. As you can see, here's a good example of filling them with dust. I do have a tiny little sharp tool. You can use a craft knife, whatever you need, and you can just stick your tool in there and you can get that dust right out. That bigger bubble is not to worry, nothing went in there, but these small ones kind of get jammed packed with some dust. So I will work that out. You could do that in your sink as well. So don't worry about that. That'll get fixed. So this little place where these bubbles were, there's like a little crater there. I'm just going in with my little knife and making sure I'm getting all that dust out, because I don't want to sand it down that far or we're going to lose a lot of this here. So just, yeah, go in, get any dust that might be stuck in the little bubble holes. And then we're going to wash it down with some alcohol. You can, if you're good and you've done this a lot, you really don't need to do anything with the backs of your coasters. I've top coated a lot of things, so I don't usually put anything on the back anymore. But if you're new to it, you can tape this up with like blue masking tape. You can use liquid silicone or like Elmer's glue and protect the backs from drips. I'm pretty confident it won't drip over. So I'm just going to prop these up on some jars like this, just in case they do drip. They won't be stuck to my board here. And then I'm just going to mix up a tiny bit of resin and put them over the top. Now just take your mixed clear resin, pour a little bit over the surface, and I use my little silicone tool and I just kind of coax it out to the sides, and it'll form a resistance from going over the edge just naturally if you don't push it too far. And that's all there is to it. So I will just speed this up for you and show you the finished product when they're cured. And finally, we have the final results. So see, you guys, they were salvageable. They're flat. They're still sparkly. They're shiny. Like nothing ever happened. I think I'll go around the edge with the silver. Here's the back. So they all came out good. So don't throw your project away if you don't know how to fix it. There's always a solution. So I will get these trimmed out in some silver, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you all for stopping in. Stay tuned for the final photos, and I hope you guys all have a blessed day. Bye.